think it's that whole sort of old school upbringing of you keep your business to yourself. You don't want to make it seem like you need support or need help from outside. And it's ingrained in us, I think. And it's true, you feel like you can't even be sick, like we've seen our mothers as we grow up. I don't even remember a time that my mum was really sick or was in bed, because you're just told to get on with it, aren't you? Because there's people much worse off than you. But I think the rhetoric has to change moving forward, because mental health is really key. In the job I do, so I work in the NHS, I'm a clinician and I'm an operational manager now, and I can just see, even from the pandemic and things like that, how many mental health patients we have come through the door every day. So I do really think the rhetoric needs to change, and I think this platform is really important to have these discussions, and it will help a lot of people.
I am Bella Rareweld, the founder of Making Time for Black Mental Health. But before I begin with my motivational talk, give yourselves a round of applause for coming here today. Give yourselves a round of applause, please. Why? You took the steps to log on to Zoom today to invest in your wellness. You took the steps to become more educated on mental health, making time for Black mental health. And the reason, many reasons why I put this event together, so that you can hear a panel of Black therapists on many of the most common mental conditions: depression, loneliness, bereavement, anxiety. So you can start to use your voice if you have some of those symptom feelings to seek help. You'll be able to communicate better to whomever you choose for support, if it's loved ones, the doctor, a charity. I am feeling X, Y, and Z, and I need help. You may not have your voice today, but I can assure you your voice will grow when you need to seek mental health support.
Why do you think most people don't share their mental health issues or mental illness?
Why do you think most Black people don't share their mental health issues or mental illness?
I'm a counsellor and psychotherapist. So from my experience of working with people from our community, the reason as to why they don't share their mental health or mental health issues is due to fear of embarrassment, fear of being judged, fear of shame. This is also a new territory for us, as in like being able to put words to these emotions, like being able to identify what anxiety is, what depression is, what mental illness is, like bipolar, schizophrenia, things of that nature,
And for those who do not know what racial trauma is, it's the trauma associated with your race. So I know for myself personally, there's not a week that doesn't go by when I'm not reminded of my race. So in terms of our kind of racial trauma, what we do, it's the way that we conduct ourselves in the office. It's the code switching. It's the thinking about, is our passion going to be misinterpreted as aggression? Is it, shall we have our hair curly, or do we need to do it straight because we need to worry about, how we are perceived as Black people? And that's been rooted in experiences that we've had, discrimination and pain that we've suffered. So that's an example of what trauma is. It's how we respond physically, emotionally to what has happened to us. And it can be ongoing, or it can be a one-off incident.
For the audience, could you define what is anxiety?
Well, it's fear of the future. It's fear of the what ifs.
Right.
Yeah, so it's the what if this happens? What if that happens? Anxiety is a survival mechanism. It's designed to keep us alive. So for example, it stops us from running out in the road because we're not directly getting hit by a car, but there's a chance that we could get hit by a car. So that's where anxiety is good. But what can happen with us is sometimes those threats to our survival can change. So it can be public speaking, it can be going into different situations that feel quite threatening. So what our brain starts to do is it starts to plan in advance for something that hasn't happened yet. So you start to do behaviors in accordance with not going into that what if situation that feels quite scary.
My name is Prue, and I have suffered with anxiety for most of my life, starting from about the age of maybe 14. I remember in my mid-teens. And so I've had a lot of time to think about this. I'm also from an African background, spent most of my formative years in Southern Africa. And the way I've come to summarize it over time from the perspective of a Black African woman is, for one reason or another, whether it's perception or the real world that we live in, we feel or believe that we don't have the same rights as everyone else. And I'll explain that. Things as simple as the right to me time, which is something very important for good mental health, okay, is something that for a lot of Black African women is a luxury. You don't get to have me time. You've got children, you've got an extended family, and you've got a job. Things like, well, even the right to be ill. Mark touched on it. Again, you know, you don't get to be ill.
Why do you think most Black people don't share their mental health issues or mental illness?
And if you're coming from a culture where, you know, you don't have benefits and you don't have this, that, and the other, it's just not a right that you're entitled to, okay? You don't have the right to complain, okay? For one reason or another, you don't have the right to complain, okay? And it could be because you're not the main breadwinner in the house, and therefore you take whatever is given to you, and therefore it's you know, a self-fulfilling cycle. It could be you don't have the right to complain because of your belief or misplaced belief in what Christianity means. You know, as a Christian who God is looking after, you shouldn't be complaining, okay? Or you don't have the right to complain because someone you know in Africa, whether personally or whatever, has a harder life than you. We just don't have the right to acknowledge it.
It is not easy addressing that deep, dark word called mental health. You may not have your voice today, but I can assure you your voice will grow when you need to seek mental health support. So I'm proud of you that you came today.